Hey friends, Ash here, welcome back to Gents. Hope you're well. According to Fragrantica, Armaf has, as of when I'm filming this, 296 different fragrances. Of course, they have more than that because Fragrantica never has everything, but it gives you an idea. And today we're gonna whittle that number down to the 15 best for men. From number 15 all the way up to numero uno. Armaf, in my mind, and a lot of other people's minds, is the brand that really helped jumpstart the whole clone fragrance wave that we're riding right now. Because before some of the big dog fragrances that they put out, most clones, I'd say like 90%, were terrible. I'm talking straight up terrible. Worst of the worst, you would spray it on your skin, smelled like nuclear chemical death. Good luck getting compliments when everyone around you is a zombie. Let us begin. All of the fragrances linked down below. Number 15, Lemony, Odyssey Lemony Fresh. This is a fragrance line that Armaf has leaned heavily on. They're coming out with Odyssey stuff left and right. I think they dropped like 4 or 5 all at once, just like a month or 2 ago. This one right here is not necessarily a direct one-to-one clone, but it does smell similar to some really popular things out there. Probably the thing that it's going to be compared to most often is going to be Afternoon Swim by Louis Vuitton. So kind of right in that style, in that wheelhouse. A lot of citrus off the top, obviously very fresh, as it says right here, lemony and fresh. Go figure. What? That's insane. Fantastic for spring and summertime, just a really well done fragrance with great quality. This stuff, very good. But what is possibly even better than that? Well, this, which has nothing to do with that in terms of how it smells, Armaf Ombre Dior. This one is a very different style of fragrance. Instead of being very fresh and citrusy and sweet, this one is more classy, refined, and has kind of a minerality to it. So it has woody and metallic notes, a bit of fresh spice in there as well. Smells similar to Crystal Saffron and has a great presentation. And of course, if you're unfamiliar with Crystal Saffron, it smells a little bit similar to Ganymede. So this kind of falls in like that family of fragrances, if you want to call it the Ganymede family, which I guess is fair enough because there's like the Invictus family of fragrances where if it has that same kind of bubblegummy vibe, people will be like, oh, it's kind of like Invictus. Same deal here. Absolutely fantastic release. Not going to be as much of like a screaming attention grabber as some of the other ones coming up. This one is, like I said, a little more refined, a little bit classier, which the presentation kind of tells you that right away. Number 13, bit of a classic, Très Nuit. This one of the earlier fragrances that Armaf put out. Smells similar to Green Irish Tweed. You guys let me know what you think about this presentation, because back in the day, you know, the presentations were a little bit more janky. Is that the right word? Not that they're not still sometimes very gaudy and attention grabbing, talking about Middle Eastern fragrances like the bottles and everything, but this was from a different time. Like this bottle right here was manufactured 10 years ago, over 10 years ago, 2015, June 2015. Still smells great though, by the way, over a decade old, still working, which they should as long as they're stored correctly and they don't have an issue with the bottle, but yeah. Kind of a weird design, like this pie shape or a little triangle shape, and has a random leather belt wrapped around it for reasons. Somebody was like, you know, it'd be sick. A rounded off triangle with the belt around it. That sounds cool. Like I said, from a different time. But yeah, very similar to Green Irish Tweed. Very fresh, very clean, classy, a little bit more mature smelling, but it still works. Smells absolutely fantastic. And this is one of the fragrances that helped start to change people's minds about what clone fragrances could be. Because when this one came out, a lot of them still smelled very, very rough around the edges. And actually for a time frame there, most clones were pretty much Creed. Yeah, it was like, hey, what's popular at Creed? Aventus, I guess, and Green Irish Tweed. And like, that's what a lot of things were. Not everything, but a lot of the bigger clone fragrances back then, that's what they were. Let's keep it super classy with the next one. This one is Legacy, and it has kind of an interesting Zippo style design to it. And this one's gonna give you kind of a Platinum Egoist scent profile. Now this could be kind of annoying, this deal, because it does kind of close pretty easily. So if you're trying to spray it, you kind of have to hold it at an angle sometimes, but you know, small price to pay. So as I said, similar to Platinum Egoist, it's gonna give you that aromatic fougere barbershop style of fragrance. A little bit metallic, but very clean and fresh. A lot of lavender in here, rosemary as well. You're also gonna get petitgrain, sage, and woody notes as it dries down. Perfect office fragrance, really good for somebody middle-aged and older who wants that just very gentlemanly vibe but they don't want to spend too much money. And it does smell surprisingly very, very high quality. This is one of those ones that flies under the radar a little bit. It's one of those if you know, you know type of scents, because it doesn't have that overload of vanilla, you know, that really loud, attention-grabbing feeling that some of the other fragrances we're gonna talk about do have. This is for when you want to smell put together. The next fragrance is a hype monster, but before we get to that one, here are codes you can use to save on Armaf and pretty much anything else. And there are a bunch of them. JOMASHOP codes only work within the JOMASHOP app, so be aware of that. If you download the app, you can use those codes to save yourself some money. Also have codes for Gift Express, the Perfume Box, Fragflex, and many other stores. So anytime you shop at any of those places, use those codes. The next fragrance is Hunter Intense. So this one is a little bit of a blend, a little bit of a hybridization, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, we need more of those. This one is kind of like Sauvage meets Invictus. So take a bit of each one of those, put it together, there you go. Good amount of citrus in here, lavender, pepper as well. Great performance, lasts a long time, projects well, and very versatile. You can use it pretty much all year round, and it's cheap. Now this is not specific to this fragrance, but one thing that I think sometimes does potentially hold some of these clone brands back is maybe a lack of clear messaging, if that makes any sense. I'll explain it. Sometimes with these brands, whether we're talking Armaf or any of the other big ones, they'll put things out, but it's like there's no clear direction of what it's supposed to be. And again, this is not about this fragrance, I'm just talking in generalities. So they'll release new stuff, and it just has like a random name, random presentation, and obviously everybody knows these brands for cloning things, and they just don't get anything out there to let people know what it is. So a lot of these fragrance releases that they have that come out just kind of fall by the wayside because people are like, I don't know what this is. I'll just wait until the next big hype beast and I'll get that. And I guess speaking to Armaf, I know that they've released a lot of new ones here recently, and I'm just like, well, what is this stuff, you know? Like, are you trying to do original things here? Are you trying to do clones? Are these hybrids? Like, nobody knows. And it's like that across a number of different brands. Not all of them, some are better than others, but sometimes it feels like you guys need to get like your direction and make it clear to people this is what we're doing. Otherwise people see stuff announced and they're like, I don't know what any of this crap is, I don't care. Next one, Armaf Blue Sky. This is one that I've picked up here recently. It has actually grown on me a lot. It smells similar to Scent of Peace for Him by Bond Number 9, but with a twist. And that's pretty common. Fragrances from these houses a lot of times will do kind of their own vibe, right? So it smells similar, but a little bit different, and that's what this is. Just a ton of citrus off the top, pineapple, black currant, smells great. It's lively, it's zingy, it's fresh, it's a little bit green, super attention grabbing, smells awesome. And it has that Scent of Peace kind of vibe to it, especially as it dries. You know, you get a little bit more of that, but the opening, especially here, a little bit leaning more towards the fresh, sweet side for me compared to the original. And to top it all off, it is cheap. Like, I bought this one from JOMASHOP. I think it was 26 bucks, something like that, 26, 27 maybe. Presentation, all things considered, looks pretty nice. Just an awesome fragrance for spring, summer, fall. You can use this stuff pretty much whenever you want. Another Odyssey fragrance is up next. This one is Artisto. So where are we at now? 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, number 9. So this one is basically Jean Paul Gaultier's Le Beau with a little twist. It doesn't really look like it would be Le Beau. Like, none of this makes sense as far as that goes because it's Artisto, which maybe ends with O, which kind of rhymes with Le Beau. Artisto, Le Beau, kind of stretch, but yeah, maybe. Then it's decked out in all red, even says it is the red edition. It doesn't really smell red though. Whatever red would smell like. So it has bergamot, it has coconut, also has nutty notes. So you're gonna get a little bit of that vibe coming through. Vanilla, tonka, amber as it dries down. So I think the easiest way to think of this is taking Le Beau Eau de Toilette and then giving it a little bit of that chestnut, hazelnut kind of injection. You can find a similar scent profile and stuff like Jean Paul Gaultier's Scandal, Stronger With You, things like that. And that's how it kind of comes across, like a blend of those. Probably the closest thing would be taking Le Beau and also Scandal, Jean Paul Gaultier's Scandal, just kind of putting those together into one Jean Paul Gaultier inspired fragrance. That's what this is. And it has been off and on kind of difficult to find. Like, this is one of those ones that will sell out and then come into stock and then sell out. And where it has been really popular, the price hasn't dropped as much as on some of the other fragrances fragrances from the house. So a lot of times this one is still sitting around like 45 or so. Infinity is the next one up, and this is gonna give you a similar vibe to a discontinued fragrance, which is a L'Homme Ultime by YSL. Unfortunately, L'Homme Ultime is, it is no more. It has ceased to be. Yeah, YSL killed that off a while ago because they really hate it when they have stuff that smells good. They're like, oh, we gotta kill this off, dude. Not always, of course. They still have some really good smelling fragrances that are still around, but it does seem to happen. YSL's just like, man, this one is too good. People love it. We gotta kill this, man. I want to see some broken hearts out there. I want to drive some people to drinking. You know what I'm saying? Let's kill off this stuff, brother. L'Homme Ultime, rest in peace. Perfect for springtime. Like, I think that is one of the best springtime designer fragrances ever, especially when you could actually find the stuff. Unfortunately, like I said, been discontinued for a while. Got the old, so this can kind of step in and fill that role. It's very, very zingy off the top, like ginger heavy when you first spray it on. Even though I don't think that's officially a note, it was in L'Homme Ultime, and it kind of comes across the same here, where it's very like zesty, very bright, very jumpy when you first spray it on. A lot of citrus in there. Some floral notes, some clean woods as it dries down, kind of a dry woodiness. Great for spring, and anytime somebody is bringing back something from the dead, I'm on board. I'm like the fragrance Necronomicon over here, just like a lich lord, you know?
Bring back them dead fragrances, brother. All skeletons and stuff, I like it.
Like Evil Dead, yeah. Some Deadite fragrances. The next two are kind of like right together for me, so I've got them spotted right next to each other, but you could kind of just put them together in the same spot. So it is Club de Nuit Iconic, and then also Club de Nuit Urban Man Elixir. That makes sense, right? At least in my head it did. So Iconic right here is gonna give you a Bleu de Chanel style fragrance, which obviously means it's made to be worn all year, pretty much whenever you want, daytime or nighttime, doesn't matter. Fresh, citrusy, woodsy, versatile, a compliment puller, pretty much everything that you would want in a day-to-day fragrance. That's what this is, and it's kind of also what this is. So whereas Iconic smells closer to Bleu de Chanel or Bleu de Chanel Eau de Parfum, this one over here, Urban Man Elixir, smells closer to Dior Sauvage. So in essence, what you have going on with these two fragrances is just the two biggest blue fragrances and Armaf's version of them. So I kind of just put them together right here. I know that technically Urban Man Elixir is ahead, but really which one would work better for you is dependent on whether you want Bleu de Chanel vibes or Sauvage vibes. If you want more Sauvage, this one, more Bleu de Chanel, this one. As far as quality goes and everything, they're pretty much the same. We're in the top 5, and at number 5 is Checkmate King. So this one is Scandal Absolu by Jean Paul Gaultier, which is one of my favorite fall and wintertime fragrances, period. And this stuff does smell absolutely fantastic. It gives you that same vibe, you know, that plum sort of opening with a caramelly chestnut as it dries down. You've got some nice warm spices in here, sandalwood in the base, solid performance, lasts a long time, projects very well. One of the best fragrances Armaf has ever done. Price-wise, about 40 bucks, and it is worth way, way more than that. So Checkmate King, this stuff absolutely lights out. Easy top 5. Might actually be ranked too low, honestly. Number 4 is gonna be this one, Art du Parfum Abstractto, which this is just a personal favorite of mine. I love the way this stuff smells. Similar to Born in Roma Intense. They did go once again with the whole, that deal, the Zippo deal. Armani had a fragrance called Attitude that did it really well. I don't mind it. It is sometimes annoying when you're trying to spray the bottle, so you have to make sure this one you spray this way. It doesn't really matter on Legacy. That stuff just loves to flop over. This one's a little bit better. But yeah, like I was saying, smells like Valentino Uomo Born in Roma Intense if you added coffee. So you're gonna have that vanilla, you're gonna have that lavender, you're gonna have that coming through like you would expect from a Born in Roma Intense flanker, but then it has this additional, not quite roast coffee, but this coffee note that comes through almost on equal footing and changes things up a lot. I think it smells fantastic. Obviously right up here toward the top, the performance is there. Everything about it I love, but if you don't like coffee in your fragrances, this may disappoint you because it is not a straight up Born in Roma Intense clone. And it's noticeable as soon as you spray it on. It's got a little different twang to it. Number 3, another Club de Nuit, but this one slightly different. This is Pursue 1, which is Absolute Aventus. Now this one does have a different presentation, which is a bit of a drawback compared to all the other Club de Nuit fragrances. Not in and of itself is it a drawback that the presentation is different, but it's smaller. So it's 55 mils, quite a bit less for what you pay, at least compared to your other Club de Nuit fragrances. Also, and this is a minor deal, or I would imagine for most people a minor deal, it is quite wobbly. So like if I give the table a shake, crack the table, you'll see it just kind of want to fall over. And if I really give it a good shake or bump into it, that thing is going flying. Not a huge deal, but it can be a little bit of an annoyance. Also, the dangly bits can can dangle. But in terms of what really matters, the fragrance and how it smells, it is very, very good. The quality is fantastic, way higher than a bunch of the other Armaf fragrances out there. This is actually one of the highest as far as that goes. They did skip from Pursue 1 to Pursue 4, which is for ladies. So I don't know where 2 and 3 are, or if they're coming out, I'm not sure. Absolute Aventus obviously is a fragrance that you can wear whenever you want. So once again, that versatility is locked in. Daytime, evening, doesn't matter, and this does that very well. Number 2 is Odyssey Mandarin Sky Elixir. Now, a lot of people would go with Mandarin Sky, and that one is also very, very good. And that would have made my top 15, but I didn't want to have Mandarin Sky and Mandarin Sky Elixir. So we'll just consider that Mandarin Sky is like right here, just one spot outside. Mandarin Sky smells like Jean Paul Gaultier Scandal. So they do have a lot of Scandal influenced kind of fragrances. They've got Checkmate King. This one right here, Artisto, has kind of a Scandal influence. Mandarin Sky, Scandal. And then Mandarin Sky Elixir, kind of Scandal meets Invictus Victory Elixir. So they really got a lot of run out of that DNA. The reason I have this one here instead of Mandarin Sky, the original one, is just I like that introduction of that vanilla sort of scent profile, that kind of fizzy vanilla from Invictus Victory Elixir into the Scandal styling. I think it smells great. It lasts a long time. It gets you noticed. It's perfect for fall and winter time. So number 2. And that means we are at number 1. And at number 1, I had to put a Club de Nuit Intense Man. It just is what it is. You can't tell the story of Armaf without CD&IM. But I don't want to go with the original. I gotta go with the one that I like the most, which is Limited Edition. This has kind of been my go-to Club de Nuit Intense Man ever since it came out. To me, it does what CD&IM does really well and just improves on it. It makes it smell smoother. The opening is better put together. It has a little additional depth to it, easier to wear. The performance is there. It's gonna get you that Aventus vibe done really well at a high end and for a decent price. I can't really say for a cheap price because a lot of the other Club de Nuit Intense Man fragrances are cheaper, but this is one of those circumstances where I feel like you get what you pay for. And with that, those are the top 15 best Armaf fragrances in existence to me right now, until they come out with like 35 new ones next year, and I'm sure some of those will be up here too. Actually, everybody vote. More than 35 or less than 35 releases next year for Armaf. I wonder if that's like too high or is that too low? I want to thank you guys for hanging with me here until the end. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. I'm going to see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.